One thing I'm doing is megadosing on omega-3 fatty acids because they are anti-inflammatory. So normally they recommend about 1,000 milligrams a day. I'm taking about 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams right now to use as anti-inflammatory. I'm also not drinking any alcohol because alcohol can be inflammatory. So these are little things you can do to decrease inflammation.
Can you take too much omega-3s, or does your body
yes.
expel what you don't use? Or?
You'd have to take a lot to really have any deleterious effects. So 4,000 to 5,000 per day, just short term, is not going to cause any problems. Back to elevating my game here. That's, of course, Michael Jordan going in for the dunk. So I did the plyometrics, and I ended up, my goal was to increase my vertical jump by 3 inches in 3 months. I ended up increasing the vertical by 4 inches in 1 month. So it was a lot easier than I thought, and it was basically plyometrics and leg weight training. So between that, I was able to increase my vertical. And then I won the MVP of my high school basketball team. And I have a little asterisk there because it's not as amazing as it sounds because I was a midget. Does anyone know what that means? And I'm talking about sports level here, midget. Midget is the first level of high school to play sports in. So it's mostly grade 9s that play midget. But because I have a younger birthday, I was able to play midget 2 years in a row. So the second year that I was in midget, I was the MVP. So there's a little asterisk. I want everyone to stand up for our first stretch break. So just stand up, put your arms overhead, reach for the ceiling, just kind of do a stretch back and forth. Get the blood flow pumping. Okay. Whenever you're ready, have a seat. We're going to do a lot of these little stretch breaks. So it was grade 11. I suffered my first major injury. I was trying to be Air Jordan instead of Air Jordan. And I was playing basketball at my dad's house. And I didn't tie up my shoes. And my dad had a basketball net that you could retract and make lower. So I was dunking on it. And then I landed on a curb and went right over, sprained my ankle really bad. So bad that I tore all 3 ligaments on the outside. So there's some ligaments out here. Tore all 3 of those. And it was bad enough they had to cast it. So I had a cast. I don't remember how long that was. And then I had a long rehabilitation sort of session after that. But that was the beginning of making me want to help others with their injury. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. Because from that rehab process, I figured out what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports therapist. So I took the steps to get to that point. Then, the same year after my ankle healed up, I was playing high school football, and this really big guy came flying at me, ran me over. I fell down. I didn't know it at the time, but I tore cartilage in my knee. So it was the next day I woke up. I couldn't bend my knee. It was kind of stuck. And it was about a year after that I had my first knee surgery. So they took out some torn cartilage and they sewed up a little bit as well. The first surgery, they took out some of the cartilage and then they sewed up the torn part. So those injuries, as I told you, shaped what I wanted to be. So I wanted to be a bio boy because I love biology and I wanted to figure out how our bodies work. I ended up doing 9 years consecutive post-secondary in the field of biological science. So I started at University of Guelph, and then I went to Sheridan for sports injury management. Then I went to Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College in Toronto here. And now I'm just taking I'm actually taking the adult teaching certificate online right now through George Brown. So I have an unquenchable thirst for more knowledge, as I'm sure you do as well. Then I had my second knee surgery in '96. That was my first year of university. Basically, after the first knee surgery, it never really felt that much better. Like it was better, but it wasn't great. And I went back to playing sports, and basketball and hockey sort of made it worse, to eventually lead to my second knee surgery. And this time they just took out some more cartilage. So at this point, probably had 50% of my cartilage left in my knee from what I should have had. And after that, it still wasn't great either. So I had to pretty much retire from all the sports that I liked and try and think of new passions. I started going a little more into weightlifting and cycling as well, which is a passion I have today. So I still cycle a lot. I try and cycle to work as much as possible. And then we get to the Biohack 4. This was a result of weightlifting, actually. Anyone out here done some weightlifting in high school, let's say? A little bit. What was your favorite exercise to do? Okay, so yes, curls are a popular one, right? Because you want the big biceps. I was hoping you would say bench press, because most men, if they go weightlifting, that's the first thing they do is the bench press, because they want to have the big chest. So that's what I was doing. I got really strong in my chest, but guess what? I didn't really do much back work. So what happens when your chest is really strong and your back is not? You go like this. Your shoulders get pulled forward. So I didn't know at the time. I was just, lifting weights, wanted to be strong. And years of doing that ends up pulling me kind of like this. To this day, I'm still trying to battle back and get my shoulders back. But it's hard because my physiology was changed and it was like that for so long that it's hard to get it back. So I found that I had poor posture, and since I was in the field of helping other people, I figured I need to improve my posture. Now, it wasn't this bad. I'm exaggerating it. But which one do you think looks better? It's an obvious choice, of course, isn't it? So obviously this looks a lot better. Why is it important? 80% of the population will experience back pain at some point. Back and neck pain is the second most common cause of sick days next to a cold. That keeps me in business as a chiropractor. And people are sitting for longer and longer periods of time at the computers. Unbelievable how long people will sit without getting up, right? Very unhealthy. So there's physiological effects. And I'd say it's one of the most commonly overlooked aspects of health. One of the problems with poor posture is not many people are going to tell you that you have poor posture. They're just going to keep it to themselves. They're going to think in their head, wow, that person's really slouching. But it's not, it's a sensitive topic. You're not going to be like, hey, straighten up, like you're really hunched over there. So I think that's why it becomes overlooked. So what's the longest that you will sit at your desk without getting up? Let's go. How many people for A, 30 minutes? How many people B, 1 hour? C, 2 hours? And D, 2+ hours. Okay, there we go. The majority of people are sitting for 2+ hours without getting up. And that is not good at all. So I want you to change that. And it's very easy. You can just set a little timer on your phone, a little alarm, or you could have certain cues. Whenever you get an annoying email, or if you have a phone call to make, each time that happens, stand up. And you only have to stand up for a couple seconds, and then you can sit back down. It's just to break that static posture, so you're not all hunched over for 3 hours. Okay, so try and change that. Because over time, that could lead you to seek out someone like me for treatment because you'll have back pain or neck pain, shoulder pain.
What would you say is the duration? Like how many times?
I think half hour. Thank you. Good question. Every half hour I think is best.